Hey there, Kyle Souza here. Want to talk about this Batman giant 100-page comic from Walmart. 5 stories, $5, 2 new ones, 3 reprints. Pretty decent. Think it's worth it. Like I said, my name is Kyle. My blog is talkinggeek.com. If you find any enjoyment in this video, thanks. Glad you liked it. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, whatever. Let's talk about this book. So there's 5 stories in here. The first 2 are new. The next 3 are reprints. They're all decent sizes. We've got Batman and Clayface in Bad Actors. It's a mad dash as Batman races to stop a murderous plan, but when the villain is revealed to be in 2 places at once and the victim turns out to be not so innocent, Batman must make the ultimate choice in a fight against Clayface. So this one's a good story, in my opinion, this Clayface story, because it really showcases Batman and his desire to get to the truth, not just lock somebody up, and the extent that he'll go to avoid killing somebody, which is very much part of his persona, right? That he's not killing people. So I think it's a good story there, and there's a fun twist at the end. Not going to ruin that. Batman and Lord Death in Unstoppable. All new. Oh, so it's all new story. When Lord Deathman's prison satellite crashes on Earth in front of Wayne Tower, only Batwoman will be able to defeat the man who defeated Death. But how can she overcome immortality when she's already used every weapon in her arsenal? So, Lord Deathman, aside from having a terrible name, is an interesting character. He basically, immortal guy, can't be killed. He ends up getting imprisoned in a satellite in outer space. It's one of the few military contracts that Wayne Enterprises works with during this time period, as they are, not in the business of making weapons for people outside of the Bat family. This one has some good artwork in it. I really like this one. Here's an example of it all. So you can see Batwoman up there. Lord Deathman. Them talking about being a soldier. So she's an interesting character. I know the TV show's been out and that they've got a new Batwoman coming in the TV show. But she is an interesting character, and I really like this story. I think it showcases Batwoman as is. It is really meant to introduce you to her versus the Clayface story. Batman saying we've fought before. It's not an introduction to Clayface as much as this one seems like an introduction to Batwoman. Then we get Batman in Court of Owls Part 1 Knife Trick. Batman must fight his way out of Arkham Asylum with help from an ally on the inside, the Joker. And has a little interrobang at the end. So the story, that synopsis really buries the lead. But if you've seen Batman vs. Robin, the animated film, then you'd be familiar with Court of Owls. And it's a good story. It comes in at the beginning of the New 52 era. A lot of people's favorite storyline at the beginning of New 52 was the Batman Court of Owls storyline. Of course, he wasn't, or let's see, spoiler alert, I'll put it that way. Spoiler alert. He wasn't really helped by Joker as much as a trick of the light, as he puts it in here. You do get an introduction to the idea of the Court of Owls in this one, but it is part of a series, and so it is not wrapped up at the end like the first 2 stories are. I really like it when these stories wrap up, but they do have a theme in these books that they do want you to carry on from number 1 to number 2 to number 3, etc. So they will pick a older story that does continue on in more so of a way than just the normal comic would continue on. Then we get Harley Quinn and Harley Lives. If Dr. Harleen Quinzel wasn't crazy before she fell for the Joker at Arkham Asylum, she sure was messed up afterward. Now, I wasn't in love with the art for this Harley Quinn or the Nightwing story that's next, but I do really like the story in here. And so it's a good story. It's Harley's origin story from her point of view. So you get a lot of her talking. That's all the red boxes are what's going on in her head, and you get to see a little bit of her childhood. She gets into her motivations for why she uh, became who she was with the Joker, and a little bit of the fallout of what happened afterwards. And it skips a lot of Suicide Squad and all that kind of thing, and it's just kind of a reintroduction to her character. And she is just chaotic. She is just chaos incarnate in this story, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of all that, just because from a logistic perspective, she blows up a lot of kids' toys in here while kids are holding them, and I don't know. I don't love the idea of kids getting blown up, but she's a bad guy or girl, whatever. Um, but one thing that is a shame, in between each of these stories, you do get these ads, right? And so that's another thing that these books are doing. That they're advertising comic shop systems for comicshoplocator.com using a DC graphic. A lot of them advertise other DC stories. So you could see this one advertising a DC story there. And then lastly, in this book, we have Nightwing and Better Than Batman Part 1. Nightwing was trained by the very best Batman, but what if everything the Dark Knight taught him is wrong? So that description really jumps right to the end there. And when you read the story, you'll see what that means. I mean to show more of the artwork here. This story comes from after the initial Court of Owls entry, and Dick Grayson's working for the Parliament of Owls, and he is trying to be his own hero, right? So you got Nightwing there. Dick Grayson's Nightwing. And he's trying to be his own hero, and you do get a nice reference to Batman Inc. Now, I enjoyed the Batman Inc. stories back in pre-New 52 times. And nothing against New 52, that's just when I was introduced to it. And so it's a good storyline, but you do get a reference in here. And so Dick asks for Bruce's opinion on something, and Bruce Wayne responds with, "I think, Dick, that you should stop asking me questions. I'm more than happy to bankroll your covert missions. I'm pleased to supply you with whatever tools you may need, but this is not Batman Inc. You made it quite clear that you're doing this your way, and I want to respect that. Your experiences since you went out on your own have made you more than qualified to be your own international strike force of one." And so it's a nice callback to that Batman Inc., but it is also gets right to the heart of the matter of Dick Grayson, his relationship with Batman after he stopped being Robin and is now Nightwing, and he's got to figure out how to be a hero on his own, and he's trying to distance himself, but he struggles with distancing himself, and it's just it's a good story, and it is part one of a story, so there is more to it. Ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, so I don't necessarily love that. Again, I like the encapsulated stories, but all in all, I think it's a good book, worth the $5, and if you're interested, go to Walmart, check it out. Again, Kyle Souza, TalkingGeek.com. Thanks.